Today I will inform you about the overtime system for the National Football League, or NFL for short. In this presentation, I will go over the purpose of overtime, the current NFL overtime system, results of the overtime, and future overtime systems, and I'll finish with a conclusion. In 1974, NFL introduced the overtime. The main goal was to reduce the number of games ending in ties. This was very successful by decreasing the number of games ending ties by 10 times. Overtime needs to be fair to both teams. They need to allow each team to possess the ball equal amount of times. Back in 2012, the NFL changed the overtime system. The purpose of this was to increase the chances of both teams possessing the ball in overtime. The change allowed Team B to possess the ball even if Team A scored a field goal in their first possession. I created a table that shows both overtime systems that the NFL has used. The first row shows the number of games that went to overtime. The old system had about 18 games going to overtime per year, while the current system had only 14 games. About 75% of overtime games with the old system ended with teams scoring a field goal, while the current system had about 70%. Both systems had about 23% of overtime games ending with a touchdown. As well as both teams have about 2.5% of games ending with safeties or ending in ties. Now with the old system, 37% of overtime games had only one team possess the ball, while with the current overtime system, 18% of overtime games had one team possess the ball. Ideally, that should be about 0%. Lastly, we have overtime games where both teams possess the ball. This should be ideally at 100%, but with the old system, it was about 63%, while the current system is about 82%. As you can see, this is why the current NFL system is broken. It needs to be fixed, because both teams should always be able to possess the ball in overtime. A solution to the overtime system could involve both teams playing an extra 15 minutes of every game that is tied at the end of regulation. This allows both teams to have equal chances to possess the ball. Another solution could involve both teams possessing the ball the same amount of times until one team scores more than the other. In conclusion, the NFL introduced overtime to decrease the number of ties that were happening, as well as allowing both teams to possess the ball the same amount of times in overtime. The current NFL system has many problems, the main one being that each team does not have equal chances of possessing the ball. I provided some solutions for the NFL overtime that allows both teams to possess the ball, as well as decreasing the number of ties to occur.